Hey everyone, and welcome. Now, we all know that quitting smoking is notoriously hard. But what if the secret wasn't about having more willpower? What if it was about a completely different way of thinking? Today, we're going to dive into a method that promises exactly that, an effortless way to quit, without that dreaded fear of gaining weight. Look, anyone who's ever tried to quit gets it. It feels like this epic battle against your own mind. But here's a thought. What if the very thing we're all told to rely on, that sheer force of will, is actually part of the problem? This really just gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Quitting feels like this impossible trade-off. We desperately want that freedom and calmness, but we're terrified of the stress, the cravings, and the weight gain that seems to come with just gritting your teeth and pushing through. The method we're looking at today is all about closing that gap. So here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into the real reason quitting is so darn hard. Then, we're going to uncover the mind's hidden programming that keeps people stuck. And I'll introduce you to a toolkit to literally rewrite that code. And finally, we'll see how to put it all together to actually achieve that smoke-free life. All right, let's jump in. First up, the quitting conundrum. And the big idea here is that this is not just a willpower problem. This is why just forcing yourself to stop so often completely backfires. It creates this huge internal struggle that just leads to stress and sadness. And to cope with that, a lot of people turn to food for comfort. And bam, that's where the weight gain comes from, creating this vicious cycle that can push you right back to where you started. So, okay, if willpower isn't the magic bullet, then what is? Well, it turns out the real challenge isn't the physical habit itself, it's the mind's hidden program, these subconscious connections your brain has built around smoking over the years. It's actually kind of fascinating when you stop and think about it. That first coffee in the morning, taking a break from work, a stressful moment. Your brain has learned to automatically connect these things with having a cigarette. It happens without you even thinking about it. That is the program that needs an upgrade. And here's the most important part. The real ray of hope. These mental programs, they feel permanent, but they are not. They were learned, which means they can be unlearned, and even better, you can replace them with something way, way better. So, how exactly do we do that? Well, you need a new mental toolkit, one that's packed with powerful techniques designed specifically to retrain your brain. Here are the 5 core tools we're going to get into. A daily hypnosis session, a really cool visualization trick called the Swish, a simple physical trigger known as the calm anchor, something called the threshold technique to make smoking seem awful, and a fast-acting tapping technique for when cravings strike. The foundation of this whole system is a 25-minute daily hypnosis audio. When you listen, you just sink into this deeply relaxed state where your subconscious mind becomes really open to new ideas. And that's when positive messages about being a non-smoker are introduced, and they gradually replace that old programming until, honestly, smoking just doesn't seem appealing anymore. Okay, next up is the Swish. And this is a really clever visualization exercise. You start by picturing the old you, smoking. Then you create this big, bright, vibrant image of the new you, healthy, energetic, happy, and you mentally swish it right over the old image, making it disappear. The more you do this, the more your brain starts wiring those good feelings to not smoking. The calm anchor is just a brilliant, super practical tool. The whole idea is to link a really simple physical action, like pressing your thumb and forefinger together, with a powerful memory of feeling totally calm and in control. You do this again and again, building a strong connection in your brain. Pretty soon, just that simple touch becomes an instant trigger for calm. It's like a secret weapon you can use anytime stress or a craving pops up. Now, the thresholds technique is all about flipping a mental switch. Instead of trying to ignore all the bad stuff about smoking, you actually do the opposite. You focus on it. You imagine and amplify the horrible smell, the nasty taste, the cost, the health risks. You dial it up until you feel this genuine sense of disgust. The goal is to cross a mental threshold where smoking just becomes a non-option in your mind. Okay, so we've got the tools. Now, let's talk about putting it all together. Let's build a clear action plan for a smoke-free life. Here it is, the big mindset shift. You choose a day to stop. And from that moment forward, you just identify as a non-smoker. Period. It's a clean break. The tools we've been talking about aren't for fighting some long, drawn-out battle. They're there to support your new identity. But let's be real. What happens in those tough moments? You've set your date, you're all in, but then a craving hits you like a ton of bricks. What do you do right then and there? This is when you pull out your emergency brake, the tapping technique. It's a really fascinating method. As you focus on the craving and how it feels in your body, you just gently tap on specific points on your face and body. And the effect can be shockingly fast. A lot of people report feeling a really strong craving just dissolve to almost nothing in a matter of minutes.
And finally, let's talk about the payoff. Let's talk about freedom of choice. This is about moving beyond just not smoking and really starting to picture, to feel your new, healthier reality.
And listen, this isn't just some nice theory. The source material is packed with incredible success stories. We're talking about people who smoked 40 cigarettes a day for decades, who have used these mental tools to just stop overnight and never looked back. It really shows you the power of reprogramming your own mind. And what's really amazing is that the benefits go way beyond just not smoking. That huge fear of gaining weight is tackled head on. Because you're not fighting a battle with willpower, you don't feel that need to replace cigarettes with junk food. Instead, people often find themselves just naturally picking up healthier habits. They start drinking more water. They enjoy going for a walk. They find new, healthy ways to relax. So when you boil it all down, the big message here is actually pretty simple. Quitting doesn't have to be this miserable, awful battle. By working with your mind instead of fighting against it, you can find real freedom. Not just from cigarettes, but from the cravings and the fear of what comes next. And it kind of leaves us with this one final, fascinating thought. We're taught to see quitting as this massive physical struggle. But after exploring these techniques, you have to wonder, what if the cage was never really locked? What if freedom was always just a thought away?